Hey, Phantom Ryu.
Yes.
Do you like tournaments?
Of course.
Well, have I got something for you? We've got ourselves the Link to the Past Randomizer Fall 2019 tournament going on. What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely amazing. We have our second qualifier round today, from which we are going to draw 128 qualifiers for the bracket stage, or group and bracket stages. This is going to be amazing. Lots of rando coming, everybody.
Absolutely. Like you said, number 2, then there are 16 qualifiers going to be run over the next few weeks. We've already had one yesterday that had around 90 or so entrants, and this one has 100 or so entrants, or even more. Let's keep it going, people.
Absolutely. For a while there, I thought we were back in 2017 when we used to get weekly races with about 100 people. It's been amazing to see these huge races and to see all of the competitors coming on in and coming back to Rando. That's what tournaments do for you. That's what version 31 improvements do for you. This is absolutely fantastic. I am hyped to be a part of it after my dismal performance in yesterday's qualifier.
I've yet to join one of these. My first will probably be Friday, so I'm looking forward to it. But of course, I'm also looking forward to this one. We've got ourselves Amazing Ampharos, Pals, P-Train, and The Lane all on the restream for us today. In fact, there's not only this restream if you are interested. There's another restream of this qualifier going on over on A Link to the Past Randomizer, or ALTTP Randomizer. If you want to go check that out, feel free. But we will be doing commentary for this restream.
Look, and why would they want to go anywhere else? We have got the hypest commentators, the hypest runners. Everything's going on right here in Speed Gaming too. Of course, if you have one of your friends over on Link to the Past Randomizer, we absolutely encourage you to go check them out as well. As a matter of fact, you could put both up at the same time and it would be absolutely fantastic.
All right, well, let's take a second to go over quickly the format of these qualifiers. These are, if you are new to Randomizer, Link to the Past Randomizer obviously shuffles the locations of the items in the game, the major items especially, and keys within dungeons and match compasses and keys within dungeons, the crystals and pendants for each dungeon's prize, and that is for this format of the tournament. This is the qualifier format. The mode that we're doing is open, which means we can start wherever we want in either Link's House or the Sanctuary. You don't have to go through the escape sequence. We can go wherever we please without being restricted by where we start. And of course, the goal is to defeat Ganon by collecting all 7 crystals, opening Ganon's tower, defeating Aghanim at the top of the tower, and then beating Ganon afterwards.
Yeah, and it's important that you noted there that you do need all 7 crystals. Version 31 of the randomizer has introduced new goals to where you can set a different number of crystals that are required for either to make Ganon vulnerable or to open Ganon's tower, opening up a lot of different possibilities for you to play the randomizer. But since we are going ahead and running this tournament here, this is what's most familiar to everybody. 7 crystals, beat Ganon. Let's see how our runners do today.
We should be going here in just a second. It's about that time for you hear the sweet sound of the ding whenever you start your seed. Sorry, it's a short sword sheath. That's what it is. I couldn't remember.
It's all good. Notice we have Amazing Ampharos rocking the OG Link sprite. We have P-Train rocking the, I can't remember the exact name of it, but the more vibrant color Link sprite. The Lane rocking the Shy Guy, and no surprise here, Pals rocking the Pikachu sprite. I'm a little sad that no one's rocking my Ryu sprite. I think I'm just going to go cry for a minute.
Hey man, it's okay. No one's rocking my Mario sprite. I'm there for you.
To answer the question in chat, sword assured, no. This is open mode. It's entirely possible that our runners could go through quite a few dungeons before they find a sword. Obviously, the sword is required for Skull Woods, Aghanim's Tower, etc. And we are off, ladies and gentlemen.
Looks like only one of the runners decided to start in Link's house, Peak of Hells being that one. Everyone else started in Sanctuary. First map check of the game, we have a green pendant at Tower of Hera, another pendant at Eastern Palace, and a regular crystal at Desert Palace.
And that opens up the possibility that, well, obviously by induction there you have 2 Dark World dungeons that are pendants, which may not be required.
I think you meant 1 because we saw 2 in the library.
I'm a lawyer because I can't do math. Thank you.
Alright, interesting to note that the bottom 2 and the Amazing Ampharos all decide to check Lumberjack before heading over to Kakariko. That item requires you to beat the first version of Aghanim, which is at the top of the Hyrule Castle. That is only accessible by killing him, having the boots, and knocking that tree that the Lumberjacks are guarding.
That is correct. Now, some of our runners did find the lucky bombs in the tree pole, going to make going through Kakariko Village much, much easier for our runners here. There's a full heart container in the well, or the tree there in Lost Woods. And as of right now, we're just hoping for a weapon of some kind here, although we know some of our runners can go with just bombs.
Right. I'd also like to point out that the heart container that they just grabbed was the Sanctuary heart container, in that it refills your life completely, and it's the only heart container in the game that does that.
That is correct, because all of the other heart containers are usually on bosses, and you get a free refill after you kill the bosses anyway. So 3 of our runners now running into Blind's hut. Let's see what they find here.
Typically the first opening play is to come here at Kakariko because of the bastion of items that you have here. We got a glove in the first chest, and flippers! And the lamp. Oh, my word.
Yeah, early lamp is not something that a lot of runners want to see, because that could imply that this is an Aghanim required seed. Even though we've already established that Lumberjack Cave is not going to be necessary here today, anytime you see that early lamp, you start to wonder.
Yeah, you mentioned the lamp. Along with that glove, that will let us get up the mountain logically. We can lift that rock over by the mountain and walk up and save the old man and get there that way.
Again, as you see here, this is why it was fortuitous that our runners found those early bombs. Lots of bombs required here for the beginning of Kakariko Village to access all the available items. There's some powder, some arrows, and blue mail, so early protection.
Always appreciated. Obviously, you start with such low health, although the danger is not really evident until you get into dungeons or into the Dark World. Not a very good deal off the bottle vendor, would you say? I would like my money back, please. Please.
All sales are final, no refunds.
Alright, I'm gonna have to sue that bottle vendor.
I think I might know somebody who can help out with that. Actually, it's not me, though, because I only practice criminal law.
Just when I thought you were my friend.
That doesn't mean I'm not your friend, but let's see if the tavern is going to be our friend. No, just a big 20.
Alright, the last 2 checks we're going to be seeing here are on the library and on the race game. The library we cannot get the item on because we do not have the boots currently. However, the race game we can get the item because we have bombs. Just a 50 rupee up there. Some runners you might see gamble the race game, like the lane over here in the bottom right, to just blind run it and see if they get lucky with the item there. But P-Train and Amazing Ampharos are going to see that they do not care, and they're not going to pursue it.
Yeah, Thelaine here is going to be kind of wasting a little bit of time, but we'll see if those 50 rupees become important. So not really any chances so far based on the items that have come out for our runners to really deviate from the normal Kakariko then South Shore route. But we'll see what we've got quite a few items coming up here, particularly in Mini Moldorm Cave. And we'll see if that changes anybody's routing. Speaking of which, the lane is dropping down into the backside of Escape, so we'll see what happens there.
Just this small little shield in the first chest of the dam. Let's see what's in back of Escape.
Ooh, not a whole lot there.
No, but we do have that small key, so we do have logical access now to the entire portion of Escape. That's in the front, as well as the Dark Cross chest, as we have the lamp.
And we now have Eggplant Hat. We have Red Mail, so early Red Mail, so all the safeties coming out here early.
Runners may not appreciate that too much because if they do not have the mirror, then death warping can be a chore sometimes.
You know, we have P-Train going over checking the desert. There are just bombs in the Dark Cross room. Now let's see what Mini Moldorm Cave has. The answer is a whole lot of not much, although the heart containers were nice.
Alright, interesting to note that the lane is going to make the play on Eastern Palace and Sahasrah's Closet. Wanna skip out on doing any flipper checks or the rest of South Shore.
It's an interesting decision as Ampharos is apparently taking the wrong water warp there. And 3 big 20s in Sahasrah's Closet. Man, we are finding very little progression here so far. The lane gonna... Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that right now we're already kind of narrowed down where our next progression could possibly be. We got the front of the castle, we got Eastern Palace, the mountain, and a couple flipper checks, and that's it.
Yeah, none of our runners have quite enough, with the exception of Pika Pals, because Pika Pals did in fact check Uncle, and Uncle had 300 rupees. Pika Pals is able to see what the Purveyor Extraordinaire of Life Lessons, Zora, has for us today, but the rest of our runners still need a few more rupees. Not certain what Ampharos is doing here. Okay, I guess he just was trying to refill bombs before heading on up to the mountain. Old Man could have something here. Also, he is able to access the Spectacle Rock Cave. But other than that, here on Death Mountain, just a couple checks, although he does get the save and quit spot.
Not sure if I caught what was on the Hylia Island just then. P-Train swam right by it.
I missed it as well, but if we missed it, I'm sure the chat will help us out. But P-Train is heading up and doing those flipper checks you were talking about earlier. Let's see what the hobo has. Pizza Hut on the island, apparently. And there is a bottle for P-Train. Kind of vanilla there.
Kinda. But we'll take it, right? I mean...
Absolutely. The lane not finding much here in Eastern Palace, just 10 rupees right there. He's got one more check he can do here in Eastern Palace, but then he's going to have to leave because he does not have the bow. And we have yet to find any weapon other than bombs at this point.
Yeah, we're dealing with some low percentage strats here to start out. This is it can be how it is sometimes. It's just the nature of randomizer.
And nothing doing there in Eastern Palace, just another heart container, which you can't complain too much about, but we have no progression here. I'm wondering when one of our runners is going to attempt to do the castle with bombs. It looks like that's exactly what the lane is doing right now. As is Amazing Ampharos.
Good thing about Elaine not being able to finish up Eastern is that it's a pendant, so there's a good chance that it's not required. So Lane can't be feeling too bad about it. If it was a crystal, I'm sure Lane would feel much worse about it.
That's true. I saw 2 items in Eastern. I'm not certain if there's still an item on Armos Knights, which could play into the meta.
Ooh, something interesting to note here. If the lane chooses to pursue the castle, he's going to have to be absolutely perfect with his bombs, or else he will have to, he may have to just nope out. He has 5, and you need exactly 5 to kill all the guards in the front of the castle.
Meanwhile, P-Train checking the Waterfall of Wishing there, and nothing doing there, but yet another heart container. We are loaded in this game with both red mail and lots of hearts. P-Train sees the piece of heart on Zora Ledge and nopes out of there because he doesn't have enough money to buy anything from Zora.
Man, the lane is unafraid to mess up here. They just did the fast version of trying to kill that guard with bombs.
And it looks like Pika Pals is going to check. And ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the purveyor extraordinaire of life lessons, King Zora himself, who gives 20 rupees. What did I say? Life lessons abound.
Alright, now I feel more inclined to sue Zora.
I'm down with that. And there is Bombos in Escape. That could be very important for later on, but we do not know the medallions that are required for Turtle Rock and Misery Mire as of...
As of right now, that Bombos medallion does absolutely nothing for us, but it could be handy later, like you said. Alright, well, Thelaine had no trouble at all with being through Escape with minimal amount of bombs, so you can use pots to kill this key guard, and you're just fine.
Yeah, nice skill there for Thelaine, and he's rewarded with a refill of 3 of the bombs he used to get down.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I think our last check is either on Sick... our last checks are Sick Kid and maybe Spectacle Rock, if AA did not go check that. I can't remember exactly.
I believe you were 100% correct, Relk, and I do not recall seeing him check that either.
And if I was a little confused about who I was referring to, that is Amazing Ampharos. I shortened it to AA because typically that's what people like to call him.
Amazing Ampharos is a bit of a mouthful, so we can understand just shortening it to AA. Speaking of AA, he is about to go get that bottle. We will see if he decides to just jet straight to Sick. It's almost certainly what Thelaine is about to do. Unless he has skipped other things that I'm not aware of. I'm not certain if he went down to Mini Moldorm Cave or not, because he had a different routing in the beginning than the rest of our runners.
Yes, I believe the lane skipped South Shore because they did not have bombs, so they opted to go buy bombs first at that little shop right there above Hylia Island, and they're probably just going to opt to save any Molten Cave for when they walk around this way. I'm not completely sure. If he wants to route it in, he may as well do it that way. Train setting up that death warp there in the front of Escape. They had not checked our cross yet, so they needed to take a quick death. That way they could save themselves walking all the way up to the castle again. Nice B for a B exchange there from Frozen's side.
And this is one of the parts of those sometimes when you're commentating a seed where all of the runners are just running over areas where the rest of them have already completed. We'd like to take this opportunity to remind you that if you like what you're seeing here, and how could you not, just give these runners a follow on Twitch, because they are putting in hard work for your entertainment, and they deserve your eyeballs and your... And it looks like this is just going to be down to whomever checks Sick Kid or Spectacle Rock Cave first. It's going to be interesting to see what items are awaiting them.
Okay, so where's Pika Pals go next? Are they gonna make the call to go to Mountain? No, they're going to the castle, maybe? I cannot remember what they've done exactly. Yeah, they're going to castle. Okay.
I can understand the reticence to do the castle, particularly when the only weapon that you have is bombs, because, as you were pointing out earlier, it is terribly difficult if you mess, or the odds of messing up are pretty good, and if you do, you've got to leave, go farm bombs, and come back.
The lane ended up just going straight to Zora area, and then have to head back from Link's house due to Mini Molnar Cave. I mean, I guess if you're used to doing Mini Molnar Cave from Link's house, it probably makes a lot more sense for you to do what you're used to. I mean, I feel like it maybe could have been better routed, but I'm not the runner here, so I'm not going to argue with Lane.
Well, I would just say from my point of view, there's a reason I'm sitting here doing commentary and not running the race, particularly after yesterday.
See, that knows all, because I completely forgot that the lane has not done a Gina's Cave yet. So, I think they may not even have done the pin either. So yeah, they're gonna take a dog leg to the left instead of going to the right.
I mean, you really can't blame any of these runners for making these decisions. You know, the only the locations that we know are left are both singular one-off locations that are relatively out of the way. And obviously you want to try and go to places that have the highest item density because you're more likely to find something you need there. Unfortunately, playing the numbers this time isn't the best option. Yeah, shout out to the chat pointing out that we've gotten both male upgrades. We almost have a full line of hearts, but no weapons.
So in terms of the things that all the runners have done thus far, we are about to converge on having checked most everything across every runner in terms of the fact that they've done all the same checks now, it seems. So I believe P-Train... Okay, well, Verlaine is going up the mountain first, and then P-Train is probably also going to go up the mountain. Pinkie Pals is also hanging up the mountain, and AA will probably save and quit straight to the old man. No, actually, look, Verlaine's going to go check Sick Kid. Okay. Alright.
Looks like Pika Palace is doing the same thing here. This could be our progression. Let us see what hype is brought here.
P-Train, however, is feeling going up the mountain is going to work out better for him, so he's going to do that instead.
Stop! Hammer time! Which is nice, but we don't really have any Dark World access because although we have it, we don't have the Moon Pearl.
Correct. But that does open up this one check over here called the Magic Bat.
Oh man, this is going to be incredibly interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we introduce to you the Batman, and he has hook shot.
Oh wow, the sequence is amazing so far.
And this opens up all of Eastern Death Mountain with that massive 7 items in Paradox Cave, 1 item in Spiral Cave, and also opens up Tower of Hera.
And just to confirm over on P-Train's side, yes indeed, the progression was indeed that hammer on Sick Kid and the hook shot on Magic Bat. We need to go to the mountain, go eastward.
Go tell it on the mountain. Sorry.
I don't mind a little gospel every now and then, but we're doing Randomizer. It's a little bit different, I would think.
So here we are, almost 23 minutes into the seed, no sword, and we finally found a weapon in the hammer, but lots and lots of items still waiting to be discovered here. Lots of progression still waiting as well. Both of these runners opting to check Spectacle Rock Cave instead of just going VFR direct right to East Death Mountain. Can't blame them. They can just fall down here and go right back to where they need it.
Alright, Verlaine is the first of our 4 restream runners to make it over to East Death Mountain. I'm going to be dropping into Paradox Cave in just a second. 7 items in here. 7's a high number. I can count.
Yeah, it's only the highest number location of any location in the game.
I mean, if you're not counting GT, but I mean, GT is usually filled with junk. Quick medallion in the bottom.
That's fair. We do have a quack medallion. Now let's see what the 5 items are here. Oh, there's the bow. That opens up Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness, Red Shield, and Mushroom.
You say Palace of Darkness, yes it does once we get the Moon Pearl. Oh, Blaine, not wanting to fall there, trying to do a bomb jump across that gap.
Yeah, I misspoke. I should have said it's required to finish Palace of Darkness, but you are correct. We do need that orb.
did you see that?
Yes, we have the Air Jordans, the Nikes, the Reebok pumps, the speed boosting boots on the floating island. I cannot remember the last time I saw something useful on the floating island. It's so good to see it here in this qual.
Alright. So, to get those, we need the Titan's Mitts, second glove upgrade. We also need the Magic Mirror to go back from the Dark World to the Light World on that ledge. I can imagine that most runners, once they get the mirror / mitts, they will go straight up there to get that speed.
And there is an S word, our first sword here in the game in Tower of Hera. Let's see if it looks like Pika is going to attempt one of our newly allowed glitches, which may allow her to skip the basement here, but she's going to need to do it anyway because she's going to need the big key in case there's an item in the big chest. Interesting choice here, interesting gamble.
I do like this because we've already found one item. I know that I feel like after the fact, if you do not find the last item on Moldorm, you would go ahead and get the big key and redo the glitch, or redo the clip, and because you do not want to have to make a second mountain fall. Alright, down goes the moldy snake up at top. Oh, it looks like that last item is unfortunately in the big chest. That hurts.
Yeah, and that is why one of the reasons that this was allowed was because there is a huge risk reward here. You are going to lose some time if, like what happened here, you do the Harapot glitch and an item happens to be in that big chest.
Good for AA though. He decided to go ahead and get that big. He probably did not feel comfortable with potentially isolating that check without having to retrace your steps.
We will be seeing shortly here. I think AA will be our first runner to access the big chest with the key. So we'll see what item that happens to be today. We are kind of running low on items that could be further progression. We still really need that ore.
All right, let's go ahead and see what is in this big chest over on AA side. What could it be? Vanilla Moon Pearl? I sense it. I'm gonna say it.
I mean, absolutely could be. It is not. It is blueberries.
Wow, that's a mean Hera right there.
Now remember, we did get the bow up in Paradox Cave. There is an item still sitting on Armos Knights, even though it's a pendant dungeon, and they also have the green pendant to turn in, so our runner's probably going to be heading over to Eastern Way. If Sahasrahla doesn't have progression, we know where it is.
Yes, and I would imagine before the runners make their way down there, they would like to check Spiral Cave, because that is the last thing they can do up here. And it would be remiss of them to skip that when they have the opportunity to walk to the right just a little bit, drop down to it.
And because AA did not do the Harapot glitch, AA is now a little bit ahead of their competitors here, and you know, that the fact that they chose to do the Harapot glitch allowed him to catch.
All right, so we're down to 4 checks left. We have this upcoming Spiral Cave check. We have the Mushroom Turn-In, and we also have Green Pendant and the Armos Knight item in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, this is an unusual seed that by this time we do not have true Dark World access.
Yeah, we do not have a way to kill Aghanim yet. We would need the cape. We also do not have the Moon Pearl, which would allow us to just go straight to Dark World, where we feel like. And so Spiral Cave is not the answer. It's back on land.
Looks like AA is going to make a quick pit stop off and turn in that mushroom. Or not?
He is. He's using...
Oh, I was taking the... Yeah, I see.
That is a very nice strategy to make it easier to get over here quicker for entrance randomizer. I'm very familiar with that. And Amazing Ampharos is one of the creators for the entrance hack of this game. So, very heads up there from AA.
All right, let's see what we have here. And turning in the mushroom yields the Book of Mudora.
Oh my word, this just gets weirder and weirder, let me tell you.
So that could possibly open up all of Desert Palace if it is not boot locked. They have everything else that they need, a lift upgrade and the lamp, so they have a fire source, so they can get in. Let's see what choices they make.
So, immediately after we were down to 4 techs left, and then came down to 2, we're back to 4 again.
Yeah, nothing there for Sahasrahla, just more blueberries. Looks like Pika Pals is going to go in and finish up Eastern. Looks like AA is doing the same thing. The lane, however, likes that book. There's 300 rupees on Desert Ledge. That's not going to really help anybody out, but there's a possibility for 2 items here in Desert Palace. Again, assuming that they are not bootlocked. Answer the question in chat. Yes, Zora has been checked. As always, life lesson, big 20. There's the big key in Desert. On the way here, I'm sure the lane is going to check the torch to see if we are boot locked. All right, so 2 possible items on the right side are locked by the boots. However, because we have found the big key, this dungeon is now completable. And there is the orb, the Moon Pearl. We have Dark World access, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, 33 minutes later. Oh, what a start.
But that does not exclude the possibility that Armos Knights may also have progression. There is an item here. Pika Pals will be our first runner to find out what it is. Let us see. It's the mitts! My gosh!
No, you are kidding me. You are kidding me with this. Oh no.
What a seed. I wonder if that's going to affect Thelaine here, because Thelaine is going to have Dark World access and may not be too terribly inclined to go back to Eastern Palace, knowing that it's a pendant and there's only one item there. So, wow.
Lane using NMG strats here on Landmo. You're not very equipped in here in this fight, so gotta use some good old-fashioned strats here. Arrows, takes 4 arrows to kill each of the land molas. The last item in desert is unfortunately not there. We have one item left on the right side, and if the lane wants it, they have to go get those boots on the floating island.
And that's one of the things that can really make a difference in a race is some of these orphaned locations like Armos Knights, like the right side of Desert Palace that we see so far. If there is progression there, many times, as I was saying earlier, runners want to hit item density to increase their chances percentage-wise. But because everything's random, if some progression is left there at one of those orphaned locations, it can make a huge difference in the race. Is the lane going to do a pedestal check here?
It's very possible. This is the way to get to the Dark World if you do not have myths, so we'll see if the lane ends up checking the pedestal as well.
And it looks like he is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you turn in the 3 pendants, you will get just couch cash. Move right along. The dream is dead.
Pedestal may be dead, but this still feels like an all dungeon seed because of how we had to go into Hera to find a sword there.
I agree. As the chat is rightfully pointing out right now, this is not good for Thelaine. The odds that he will go back to check those mitts is pretty low here. We did see a ped check there. I believe our 3rd pendant was Ice Palace, if my memory serves me correctly. And Thelaine going to go check out Skull Woods. That was a huge determining factor in yesterday's qualifier seed, with the hammer being stuck here in Skull Woods. Nice job there avoiding the Gibdos as well.
AA opting to use hammer strats here on lane mo. Bit difficult because you can't shoot as much ammunition at them or attack them as much. Probably wanting to save some ammo.
Interesting that the lane skipped that chest there. Obviously, when you open that chest, it does open up some pitfalls. But let's see what else is here. Just another key. And I guess the lane's going around this way. With this logic, can there be an orphaned item in here? Or is this still a guaranteed key? I cannot remember.
So the V31 changes has advanced logic where that chest can have progression, or is not guaranteed to have a key in there, basically.
Thank you for that clarification.
So the way the lane did it is start from that first drop down on the bottom left, go up to the pot prison chest, and then make their way back down since they're gonna need to check that chest anyway.
Lane checking bumper cave there, just a 5er, so not much doing there. Looks like probably going to head over to Village of Outcasts and everyone's favorite dungeon, Thieves Town.
Hey, did you see what was there over on AA screen? I'll let you do the honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
Bravo. Bravo, good sir.
There it is again, the Kane! Gotta love it. Over there in chest game, odd place for progression, but good to see it. And now we have 3 runners in Thieves Town as well. Interesting, after all of this, at 42 minutes into this seed, we got 3 out of our 4 runners in the exact same dungeon.
There was only 1 item in the front of Thieves Town, which means there's going to be 3 scattered throughout the back.
Which is good that our runners have the hammer already.
Yes, I'm sure the runners from yesterday's race would have liked that to be the case.
And it's very odd indeed, specifically with runners of the caliber of the 4 runners we're showcasing here today, that we are 43 minutes into a seed, and there's only 1 completed crystal dungeon so far. So just another heart container up here in the upper floor of Thieves Town. Lots of locations still yet for progression. Obviously, though, Thieves Town being a crystal, all of our runners are going to complete it. But wow, what a seed so far today. Now, P-Train heading over to Sea House. I don't believe we've seen what's in here. Just a big 20. No excitement to be had.
You're just about through Thieves Town. All we have left is to rescue the maiden, quote unquote. It's not a maiden.
Oh, wow. I don't know which is worse, finding the single rupee or finding the single arrow, but not at all what anybody was looking for here.
So, if I were to rate the thieves' ability to be thieves, I wouldn't rate them very high. I don't know about you.
Yeah, not so much. When all you're throwing into a giant treasure chest is a single room.
I mean, that's their prized possession. Give me a break.
So AA not quite getting the perfect blind here, but still not going to have any trouble completing the pipe.
Thieves Town, you let us down.
Indeed. Got to imagine that most of our runners are going to go through the South Dark World route here. We have no mirror, so I wonder if people are going to skip Jeremiah the Bullfrog here, go straight to Palace of Darkness, which is completable, and save the Smith chain for later.
Very reasonable play. I do. There is also the alternate way of using Jeremiah and then going all the way to Catfish while checking Pyramid along the way. But yes, I would definitely prefer to do Crystal Dungeons over doing Overworld, just because doing things required is probably going to be the better outcome over things that maybe aren't required and maybe just unnecessary.
We have everyone's favorite digging game here. Alec Baldwin himself. See Beetlejuice if you don't get the reference.
How many digs does it take? Let's see.
Looks like it takes 9 today. Obviously, the item there in digging game is randomized because this is randomizer between 1 and 30 digs.
Hey, what did you learn to count?
I can count, I just can't do math. There's a difference.
Oh, nonsense. Alright, so AA is opting to grab the Smith. Will make their way over to the east part of the Dark World. We'll see if they choose to continue on to Pyramid and Catfish afterwards. Be on the lookout for that. Makes a lot of sense.
All right, we have the cave formerly known as Hype Cave. We'll see if it tries to regain its former glory here as we watch the lane screen. Bottle, red meringue. Nope, not Hype. 1 out of 10.
The only thing good that came out of there was actually that red boomerang. That it will allow your menus to be a lot cleaner because the boomerang lets you, whenever you save and quit, just go right and down, you got your hammer. As a runner, I can appreciate finding a boomerang along my path.
I'm just going to say red meringue is best rang, but I know I'm in the minority. And we got a mirror shield from the blacksmiths. Make Turtle Rock nice and easy. Just a piece of heart on the pyramid ledge. I've got to think that the lane is going to head up to Catfish. All right, Pika Pals is not going to Catfish. Gotta believe Pika Pals is headed straight to Palace of Darkness. And we shall see what the Quakefish has in store for the lane to. Just a big 20. Meanwhile, AA hitting those hammer pegs. We've not seen what's here today. Is it going to be progression? It is not. Just big 20.
Quit throwing the big 20s at us, game. We're good on money. The game just can't take a hint sometimes. Alright, Pika Pal's opening up Palace of Darkness. We can fully clear this. There are 5 items in here total. On top of that, this will give us one of our 2 Pyramid Fairy Crystals. We need the Fire Rod to beat Skullwoods to get the other one.
And one of the key things, particularly if you're just joining us to note, is that the lane does not have the mitts. The mitts are actually sitting on Armos Knights. Pika Pals and Amazing Ampharos both completed that dungeon, even though it was a pendant, and that could be a huge difference maker down the line.
The thing to watch out for in Palace of Darkness to start is you get a small key in the first chest. If you do not, you are required to have a bow logically to get through the beginning. But if you do, you have to wait until the next couple chests, and if you find another small key, you are good to go generally.
And so many keys in Palace of Darkness, and that's all we're finding up here in the front, which is why it has gotten the nickname Mullet Mansion. Business in the front, party in the back. Apologies to Dr. Bob Tastic.
Yes. What he's referring to is that the front of Palace of Darkness is required to have at least 4 small keys within the 6 chests at the beginning. The 2 on the right here that Pika Pals is heading to, and this chest on the bridge that Flame just checked, the vanilla big key chest to the left of Flame right now, and the chest below him, and the first chest in the dungeon. Required to have at least 4. You could see 5 or 6, but it's a lot more common to have 4.
And there's the big key for Pika Pals.
We did not find an item in any of the first 2 possible item locations in the front. There are still the 5 items in Palace of Darkness at large.
We're going to get a hammer yump attempt here from Pika Pals. Let's see if she can get it. First try, and, well, it just refills those 2 bombs that she used. But there's something important. Toot 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 on the flute, summon the Swag Duck Express.
Take a little arrow with you, why don't you? That's almost the vanilla location, but not quite.
Oh, there's the Swag Net. So we got Swag Duck and Swag Net in Palace of Darkness here. And as Chad is rightfully pointing out, that flute with the mitts could possibly open up Misery Mire. There's a 2/3 chance that they have the right medallion to open it up, and we'll see where our runners go.
There's only one item left in this dungeon on Helmasaur himself. Pal is making their way there. I do like the route that Pika-Pal chose to take with the Hammer Yum, because that without the mirror, it is a lot harder to get back to where you want to go into Palace of Darkness. Unless you, like I said, unless you have that mirror. The optimal way is if you have the big key, you do that Hammer Yum and walk around in a clockwise direction.
Yeah, otherwise the quickest way would be to Death Warp, but considering that our runners have 12 hearts and the red mail, that Death Warp would probably be more difficult.
Yes. However, interesting note, those Dodongos inside the Dark Maze do 1 heart of damage, both touching them and their fire. They all do 1 heart damage, no matter what mail upgrade you have.
Here we are nearly an hour in. All 4 of the runners we are watching here are in the exact same dungeon. Amazing.
Bound to happen when you have an early bottleneck like we had with the book being locked behind the mushroom on the mountain, and then the Moon Pearl being in desert.
And there we go, 17 hammer hits. And Pika-Pal's using the hammer here to finish off Helmasaur King. Interesting choice. Could have used arrows. Probably would have taken about the same time, though.
Piece of heart there. Yeah, interestingly, if you can do it fast and efficiently, it is faster than menuing to the arrows.
Got to think now that Pika-Pals is going to save and quit and go straight to activating that flute and calling the Swag Duck Express. And we still have a smorgasbord of items needed for go mode here an hour into the seed. We need both rods, possibly need the boots, definitely need the mirror, could possibly need the ether medallion. Just wow. And we need another sword as well. Looks like Pika-Pal's maybe doing a pedestal check here. She has not checked the pedestal yet. I don't blame her at this point in the seed. Pika-Pals is finally going to turn... Oh no, going to pick up potions. Probably because Pika Pals is sensing that there might be a fighter sword Vidi in her future.
It makes perfect sense. You want to try and alleviate your victory as much as possible. You have red mail, so your defense is decent. Even still, Vitreous does at least 1 heart of damage per hit. The eyeballs do 2 with red mail, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. And the poison does 1 no matter what mail you have. The lightning, I believe, does at least 1. I could be misremembering, though. Feel free to correct me if I am giving you misinformation. There's the ice rod.
Always a good thing when you find the ice rod before it's your last item for go mode, because that item can be almost anywhere and can lead on a very long wild goose chase at the end of the game. So it's good to find the ice rod there. I'm wondering where Pika is going here. Now, Pika does have a potion, so it's entirely possible that Pika can sequence break here and do Spike Cave. Seems a really odd check to be doing right now, but many times it's those odd, quote-unquote, low percentage locations that end up turning the tide. So could also be checking Turtle Rock, but and we're going to also see the lane finally find those mitts. And yeah, chat, you're absolutely correct. We still need Dark Death Mountain as well.
Alright, do we need Ether for Turtle Rock? Survey says no.
Wow, is this even randomized? Both medallions are their vanilla requirement. And the thing that is just terrible here is that Pika Pals has access to Hookshot Cave. She knows those boots are sitting on the floating island, but without the mirror, they are completely and utterly unattainable.
Hope and pray for the mirror to be here then, right?
It'd be even cooler if they were if it was actually in Hookshot Cave. All right, 4 items here in the Hookshot Cave. Not looking good so far. There's 300 groups. And we have a Master Sword. Interesting there that Pika Pals did not choose to go ahead and give... because she does have a blue potion. Interesting that she did not give Spike Cave a shot. That sequence break, since she was there, could have been very important. But looks like she is headed back to the Dark World.
Pika Pals also did not choose to check the front of Turtle Rock in case an item important was there, or they could progress further and maybe get to Laser Bridge. Of course, it's very rare that you can get there without the Fire Rod.
It is possible. It's also possible the Fire Rod was sitting there in Turtle Rock, but that would be an odd seed indeed. Meanwhile, AA checking everyone's favorite dungeon, Ice Palace. And no one likes Hammer Cold Stare, but with the red mail, it might be alright. And Delane found the mitts and just made a beeline straight to Ice Palace. So he and AA are going to be checking out Ice Palace. Peekabow's not going to find anything here in Skullwoods. We know that. And P-Train will finally be getting their mitts here in Eastern Palace. Answer the question in chat. Yes, the smith chain has been checked. We have a shield waiting at the smiths, but other than that,
AA setting up this Ice Palace bomb jump. They're a little too high. There, that should be good.
second time was a charm. So, yeah, when I was being facetious earlier about Ice Palace being everyone's favorite dungeon, the problem is there's only 3 items in the dungeon, and there's just so much walking, particularly if you don't have the boots, and so many convoluted routes. Even with the Ice Palace bomb jump allowing you to skip certain parts, it's still an arduous walk.
Having to deal with the icy floors also is a pain without boots, so yes, you're absolutely correct. Already found both small keys. We found our first item in a big 20 in the vanilla big key chest. Making our way back down to the not the ice key room, the spike room here.
And there's the fire rod. Ice Palace pays off. Not only is that a great find just in general because it's required to complete Skull Woods, but it is also going to be a huge help against the boss of this dungeon, Cold Stare. He can save some magic by using Bombos to destroy Cold Stare's shell, and then he'll get, I think, 5 Fire Rod shots, and the Fire Rod does gold sword damage to Cold Stare. You can actually, if you set it upright, hit multiple Cold Stare clouds with 1 Fire Rod shot. Huge help there with the Fire Rod being here in Ice Palace.
Now, did IT Room just then have something?
I was caught up in my own magnificent explanation there and completely was not.
Interesting there. AA did not do a bomb jump across the way. Check. They may just be going straight for Cold Stare. Alright. They feel that they have done their due diligence in here. And are going straight to Cold Stare. Unless there's just some... No, there's no key logic left to find, I believe, because the big key... Oh, you know what? The big key is in that chest where the Freezors are. But it's between the big chest and Cold Stare for the last item. No, I am mistaken completely. There was an item in the iced tier. Yes.
Yeah, apparently we got all the items. Yeah, I just wasn't sure there. So, as chat was rightfully pointing out earlier as well, AA does not know that this is not a pedestal seed. So this, even though he's found the items, continuing to go here to Cold Stare makes sense given the knowledge that the runner has here. I imagine that Delane, once Delane finds 3 items, will just go ahead and nope out. There's another sword too. So that's maybe the one we missed earlier.
Okay, so it was a sword that we missed. Interesting. So that's 3 swords we have found.
And you got to think Thelaine is going to be heading straight to Turtle Rock here. Has everything he needs to complete the dungeon. And where is that mirror? We need that mirror. We need that ether medallion. Yeah.
Also possibly need boots, but the fact that we know where the boots are is not going to make us worry about them at all. You're most likely going to see every runner pick up those boots either on their way to Gan's Tower or after clearing Turtle Rock, whichever happens to be the way things turn out.
Yeah, given the location of the boots, I just there's almost no way in the world I would ever gamble not needing them in GT. Plus, just the speed difference alone. AA gonna blind pull the pedestal here. This is not going to work out for him at all. There is the couch cash. Although, 50 rupees.
Blaine most likely going to check these other few things here first, hoping to get either the mirror or another sword. They will find a sword. However, they will not find the mirror, so the best thing they're going to be getting is that sword in Hookshot Cave, and then they'll make their way over to Turtle Rock and fully clear the dungeon, aside from Mimic Cave, unless we find that mirror.
Wouldn't that be a kick in the head? If, say, Ether was in Turtle Rock. I know we're probably not supposed to do this, but it would be a kick in the head if Ether's here in Turtle Rock, the mirror's in Mire, and you had to, or the mirror is sitting in. I just lost my train of thought. I'm old and tired. Forgive me. But it's all irrelevant because there's the mirror here in Turtle Rock. P-Train noping out.
So P-Train actually went in there without the fire rod, so they could not go any further even if they wanted to.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, is why we have co-commentators, because when an old man who's incredibly tired is on commentary, he misses obvious things like P-Train not having the fire rod to complete Turtle Rock.
So all we're now looking for is that ether medallion. We have the swords, we have everything else, we are able to get the boots. P-Train has them, obviously. But other than that, we only need that ether medallion. It could be sitting somewhere in Turtle Rock. And that would be just the most convenient thing for people like Thelaine.
Yeah, if the ether medallion is here, you got to think Thelaine has got a huge advantage over the runners we have.
That posing the thought that maybe Thelaine would have gone back for those boots immediately after getting the mirror. That is a nice idea, however, it's probably not worth the time investment just to have to go through those first few rooms. It probably evens out over the course of the rock. Honestly, the boots save about a minute every, 10 minutes. So...
Yeah, something like that. Now, I agree. There's the cape. Not that it's really going to matter all that much, but But yeah, I don't know that I would nope out of the dungeon to get the boots and then come right back in.
We just had a shovel sighting.
I can dig it.
You know.
Although, chat pointing out here, you could go to Turtle Rock Laser Bridge entrance, mirror back to get the boots, and then drop back to the portal from above. It's doable, but... Alright, so now it's all on the hunt for this Ether Medallion. P-Train is in Swamp Palace. The lane's going to finish out Turtle Rock. There's that Ether Medallion! It's in Swamp Palace, so, wow. Speak of the devil, and it appears, and P-Train is in business here, but he does not have the fire rod. Gonna have to get in that ice palace.
The nice thing for P-Train here is that he's just missing that fire rod, therefore he will not be pushed into the back of Skull Woods to do any extra checks, or to Rock to do any extra checks. Only big point for him here is he will probably opt to do Meyer next, just because he just now opened it up with the Ether Medallion. But he will be on his prerogative for him to go straight to Ice Palace at some point, because that fire rod is the last thing he needs.
Meanwhile, AA going to take the big bomb up here. Not too much left or nothing left that's needed, but if those silvers are there, that would be really...
Alright, something I like to go and point out now. If you saw over on the lane side, you saw that he picked up a small key in that chest. P-Train will be able to take advantage of the Turtle Rock gamble, in which you have enough small keys available to you to skip the big key chest. Unless the big key was vanilla, I completely missed out on that. But if it's not vanilla, then yes, he can take advantage of it. But with vanilla, he unfortunately cannot.
The big key was not vanilla.
Alright, well good. So he can skip the big key chest, steal that pokey key right before it, and skip the big chest as well. And will save some time in Turtle Rock, which always is nice when you're in go mode. You don't have to keep full clearing things. P-Train takes down Argus in the back of Swamp Palace. We can hope that P-Train does not check anything else in here, because there's nothing here that he would need. Well, he might feel inclined to go back in because he's one item from go mode. Yep, just as I thought.
At the lane heading into the Trinex fight, I believe he has Tempered Sword. Yes, he does. So, not nearly as bad as Master Sword Trinex. Nice Trinex fight there from the lane. And now Thalane is going to go get those boots. It's going to help him out. Now, fortunately, Thalane will be able to do pretty quick Swamp Palace. He won't be able to completely go mode it because he does need that Ether Medallion, but once he finds it, he's just going to head straight back to Argus, save some significant time there. Because as you see here, P-Train is going to take some time here to full clear Swamp Palace. We know that he's not going to find anything required here, although again, we still have those silver arrows and we have one more sword outstanding.
Blaine making extra sure that they do not have to make another unnecessary mountain climb, and finishing off the rest of the checks up here that they could not do earlier, including Ether Tablet and Spike Cave. Of course, we know they do not have to do this. He does not have to do this, but it is just to keep his conscience clear about what's left up here.
Yeah, you know, one of the things a lot of runners don't want to do is leave orphaned locations if they can avoid it, and that's exactly what the lane is doing right.
Alright, does the lane go straight to Swamp? If they do, they will be well on their way to doing pretty well for themselves. They are probably going to do boots checks first. Yes, looks like they're doing Thieves Tomb and Bonk Rocks right here, right now.
You know, sometimes it's tough watching the runners go and do a whole bunch of checks that we know as the commentary team that are not going to work out for them progression-wise, but certainly cannot blame the lane. These are two checks, real easy to do, obviously gated by the boots. And there's half magic in Checkerboard Cave. Nobody's ever going to turn that down.
Of course not. I can probably imagine that Blaine or any of the other, either of the other two top runners, will probably not be picking that up. Oh, Blaine opting not to go into Swamp right there. What are they going to do now?
Skull Woods.
Alright, okay. That's probably the least time investment they could be doing, other than Swamp Palace, so I can understand wanting to go ahead and do that first, since it's a fairly quick check. You know what? I also just remembered that in case they do not have Ether Medallion by the time they finish Swamp, they would want to do the Pyramid Fairy. Obviously, we know that's not the answer, but I see what the heads-up routing of the lane is bringing to the table here.
Oh man, this could be bad. I mean, it looks like P-Train's going to go complete Mire, which is fine, but you know, if it's a God Mire, he's seriously going to lose some time here, and it's tough when all of this is open to P-Train, but he does not have that Fire Rod. And we don't get a bird toss, we do get a bird smash here today. Hey, it's all for the memes.
Lane dropping into Mothula right now. AA and Pika Pal still making their way through Turtle Rock. P-Train with the first major room here in Mire. Had a little bit of trouble. That room can give a lot of new players trouble. It's still a very hard room to do well, even if you're a great runner. Because one, the RNG of the little guys that wiggle around and move can be sort of bad and hard to account for. Also, you just may slightly miss an input and therefore miss one of the wizard robes and make your life a little bit harder because you have to wait a few more seconds for them to respawn themselves. Alright, so far, no big key over on the right side. We're going to have to go over to the left and hit this switch over here and continue our checking.
And we'll see what happens in this next room. I'm not certain that there even can be a key up here, but if there is a key in this chest in this room that P-Train is entering right now, then the big key must be in its vanilla location. I'm sure P-Train knows that, so he's going to be going upstairs to cutscene room.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. If there is a small key in that chest, big key has to be in its vanilla location. I do believe that it could also be the flip side of that, where this chest that P-Train's about to check has a small key, and then the big key is in that chest that P-Train just checked.
Interesting here. Thelaine is going to check the 2 orphan locations that we have here in Desert Palace. Not a bad play given the way the seed has been going so far. He is looking for that ether medallion. It could very well be here, but we know that's not going to work out for him.
Thelaine, you're forgetting something. Okay, good, I remembered.
Right.
The most interesting thing that Thelaine could find over here would be the silver arrows. A sword would be nice, but it does not help very much, considering that he already has tempered. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to figure out what is over here.
Just bombs. Ugh, that hurts.
Other than that, though, Flame will be getting their half magic in just a second. At least that they got that going for them, right? While we're waiting around here for P-Train to get to Vitreous, there is a pretty nifty little trick slash glitch that you can do in Mr. Mire if you have the fire rod. If you flute to the Mire area, pick up the rock from the bottom, and enter the Dark World that way, you will set up a glitch we like to call Spooky Action. You go into Mire, you go to the back, you place the cane block by kicking some stuff right before with the flute, or using an ice rod shot or a silver arrow shot before dropping the cane block. Then you can continue through the back, use your fire rod to hit certain objects along the way, like the spikes, the anti-fairies, or the torch, to hit things above you that you would normally be able to hit without doing them in an intended way. So you could save a bit of time if you have the fire rod. Obviously, P-Train does not have it, but it is cool to see nonetheless. P-Train making use of that blue potion against Vitreous, trying their best to make this fight go as fast as possible, even with the low equipment that they have. Nicely executed from P-Train. Elaine is going to get their ether very soon. They are in Swamp Palace now.
Yeah, very close to go mode for Thelaine. Peekaboo is going to check K43 here. We've not seen this yet, so could be interesting. Just a big heart container.
Alright, in just a few seconds, the lane will be the first restreamed runner in Go Mode. 130-43. Pika Pals is well on their way, as well as AA. And P-Train will need to make their way into Ice Palace at some point to get their Fire Rod for their Go Mode.
Yeah, really interesting here that that the lane is pulled ahead, considering that the lane took so long to find those mitts. You know, so much was gated by the mitts that he checked pretty much everything he could, leaving Armos Knights as the only thing left. So, but interesting nonetheless.
I think it comes down to the fact that the lane opted to go straight to Ice Palace after getting those mitts. That really was, in their mind, probably the only way they could make up a huge amount of time, as if, in his mind, he was thinking that no one's going to want to go to Ice Palace when they get these mitts. They're going to want to do about everything else that they can do before going there. So I need to do this in order to make up a lot of time. And if it doesn't work out, well, this is how it goes. Thankfully, it did not turn out that way, and the lane is in the lead on this restream. Nice Argus fight there from Flame using 2 Fire Rod shots in a spin attack to clear out the second phase. I'd also like to point out the first phase was a very clean first phase. If you use what is called a hook dash by pressing the A button and the Y button at the same time on your controller, you can set yourself up in a way where you can basically combo all the Argus eyes, in that you can just keep repeatedly press that Y button, hook them onto you, and the game will just kill them in one hit every time you press Y, essentially. It requires some very strict timing. Not a very easy trick to pull off. Sorry. You just saw there that Pika Pals hit their Go Mode not too long ago, and AA also just hit Go Mode.
Meanwhile, that Fire Rod continues to be the bane of P-Train's existence. Got to gamble on that Ice Palace, which he's going to run out of locations here. I wonder if he's going to hit Graveyard Ledge before going to Ice. Thalane making the wrong choice here, knocking the crystal switch and then heading to the right. Let's see what they choose to do from here. Oh, this is not going to work out.
Now, did they check that chest above there with the torches?
No, the lane just hit the crystal switch, then immediately went right. Unusual choice there, but all right, this will put him on the right.
lane is out of magic, but conveniently there is a full magic drop right there. Nice of the game designers there for us, right?
Yeah, it's like they didn't want people to run out of magic before, half of your magic was probably required if you didn't have half magic.
It's almost a wonder why they do that for dungeons like Measured Mire and Turtle Rock, but not for Ice Palace when you need, if you don't have half magic, a full magic bar with the Fire Rod to beat Cold Stare's shell. A little backward.
It is, especially considering that in the vanilla game, the hint tile in Turtle Rock says, hey, if you don't have magic potions, you might want to not go any farther.
And yet they litter that dungeon with full magic pots. Alright, if you watch over on the lane side, if he indeed set it up correctly, you'll pick up some dust here before you drop the cane block. Yep, there's a dust. If you pay attention, you might see the screen freeze for a half second, even though the lane did not hit a switch. If you're right there, hit screen froze. Switch was hit, even though he didn't shoot it. Spooky. There it is again.
Spooky. Yeah, well, and should be one more time coming up here. There it is. Ooh, spooky.
Game's well programmed, right?
Yeah, that's actually a misnomer that this game was not well programmed. It's actually an impressive feat that they were able to cram as much as they did into a 16-bit game with this amount of RAM, etc. Given the time that the game was created, the fact that we're able to abuse some of the programming shortcuts that they did to make this game happen is actually more of a sign of how well the game was coded rather than poorly.
Hey, I may not be a person that likes numbers a lot, but I see 7 of these crystal thingies that the lane has.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower in which the big key could possibly be. Which one of them will it be today in Ganon's Tower? Put your guesses in the chat right now. The winner will get our eternal love and respect.
Something like that. Put your guesses in now before we reach that Ganon's Tower. So, I'm wondering what Thelaine will choose to do first here. Will he go for those fabled Dark Magician strats where you start by going left, going to that room with all the Stalfos, and then go right to the Compass room? Or will they start right in the Hope room, hope for a key, if they get a key, continue going right, if they don't, go back to the left? What could Thelaine possibly be thinking here?
Yeah, lots of different strats on how to route Ganon's Tower, and you can never say any of them are wrong, because remember, this game is randomized.
Alright. This thing has been closed.
Well, rip Bob.
For those of you that don't know, there is a any fairy near the bottom of this tower that we affectionately like to call Bob because of how weird he looks if you do not bonk that torch there.
And it's an odd glitch that's caused by the randomizer. I'm not entirely sure how exactly that works. And Relkin, almost psychic of you there. The lane does indeed do the Dark Magician strat. And there are our silver arrows here in the Hope Room.
I'm sure the lane would feel like they routed pretty well in this tower. If they found a big key over on the right side, they would feel pretty good about their routing position in GT. Silver arrows are a very powerful tool. They let you kill Lanmos in one shot, kill Armos Knights in one shot, kill Helmetsor in one shot, Argus, kill Vidi in less shots than normal, kill Ganon in 4 shots. Alright, got a bottle with a fairy. Rupees.
Oh, it's
Another
like
sword,
butter.
but no big key.
Yeah, we are loaded for bear here going up against Ganon. Red mail, gold sword, silver arrows, 15 hearts. This is going to be an academic Ganon fight for our runners.
Academic? You know what, actually, this is going to be a pretty lackadaisical fight if you ask me, because their sword makes Ganon super, like elementary.
Yeah, the gold sword, you only have to hit Ganon 6 times in the first 2 phases to pass the phase, so real easy. You got plenty of time to do that before he disappears.
I'm liking the boomerang strats that Thelane is using in these switch rooms. Super efficient and handy. Another small key.
And Thelane here about to enter what we affectionately refer to as the randomizer room, because generally the only time you're ever going to see this room is when somebody's playing randomizer.
Incoming are checks number 14 through 17. We got arrows, the blue cane, bombs, and some cash. We are down to 5 places left where this big key could be.
Yeah, we have Bob's chest, 3 after Ice Armos, and everyone's favorite, Tile Room.
Everyone's favorite. Tell, why is it everyone's favorite?
Because everyone who's watching a randomizer stream is sadistic and wants it to be as much of a pain in the rear as possible for the runner.
Oh, I never knew that. I'm just kidding. Alright, what's in Bob's chest? The
A
map.
burrito.
Tasty map. Okay, coming up on 19, 20, and 21 in the big key room itself. What do we got? We have
Vanilla.
Alright, if you guessed 19, you guessed correctly.
And Thelane now enters what we affectionately refer to as the Gauntlet. Silver Arrow is going to make these red mimics, aka Garayas, much, much easier. And barring any catastrophes here, this will be Thelane's race to lose He has got what, given the lane's skill level and execution, I don't think Pika Pals is going to be able to catch him. And notice too, because P-Train last location, that Fire Rod, P-Train is still sitting with Master Sword here for Trinex. It's not going to be a problem for P-Train because P-Train's execution is quite excellent, but man, no one likes Master Sword Trinex.
It would be interesting to see this, but P-Train definitely could do a full Dark Magician strat where they go left first and then go all the way right, all the way down to Ice Armors. And that way they would get their sword and their silvers, along with the big key behind Ice Armors. But that's rarely seen just because of how much seemingly unnecessary travel you're doing down to that area behind Ice Armors. Interestingly, Thelaine messing up a little bit in that first torch room. See, thought they had lit that top torch, but they didn't, so they had to wait for the first torch to burn out before attempting to light them all again.
And here comes the great equalizer, Moldorm 2. Has a penchant for knocking runners down, but not going to happen to Thelaine today. Now it is time for Aga 2. Let's see how quickly Thelaine is able to dispatch him today. There's a double. This looks like good chance for a triple, but not going to be a triple because there was a blue ball. Double, 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 the triple double from Thelaine. Nice Aga 2 fight.
That is the best Ganon fight that you could probably hope for. Sorry, Aga 2 fight. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Given that the layout of that fight gave you a forced blue ball in the second cycle. Alright, we have a song reference. I like Ganon's taste.
Thelaine using the swag dash strats here.
One silver arrow shot down to Ganon. Ooh, missing the torch glitch. Not going to matter too much because silvers will make this nice and easy. It could be a triple. It is.
And it
Everyone
is.
gets your GG
Wow.
tap fourth lane.
Absolutely. GG's to Thalain. When he crosses the bridge here, we will know his official time. And Thalain does in fact finish in 11th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, 56 seconds. GG's to Thalain. The winner of today's qualifier, however, was Ultima, finished in first place with an SRL time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, 33 seconds, followed by Bonta, Ninban, Korek, Big Dunka, Dante, Zero Rush, Dr. Cossack, Ravis 10, Blaine, Cassidy Moen, and then Thalain. So 100 about runners in this seed, so you cannot remotely be upset with an 11th place finish.
Alright, we have Amazing Ampharos taking on Ganon with Tempered Sword. They did not go down to the compass room, so they did not get their sword. Not that it's going to matter too much. They still got the 1-in-1 cycle on Ganon.
And Pika Pals finishes in 18th place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, 19 seconds. GG to Pika Pals, good enough for second on our restream, 18th overall.
And to note some other finishers, we have Trinex after Thalain in 12th, followed by Matt7898, Megawatt, Acthabilker, Plasma Kappa, and Salty Fry, and then Pika Pals. GG's. Coming close behind Pika Pals will be AA, just now taking down Ganon. Get your GG's for AA.
AA will finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, 21 seconds, good enough for 23rd place. In between Pika Pals and AA were Gooba 90, Andy, New York Rambler, and Chisame. So lots of runners finishing within like 5 minutes of each other. It's I mean, the way this seed was arranged, it not surprised that there's so many finishers in such a quick succession there.
Yes. Finishing after Pika Pals was Goomba 90, then Andy, NY Rambler, Kizame, and then AA just finished. And we'll announce some of these finishers in just a second after we pull in some of our interviewers. Give us just a second while we pull them in. And we are joined by Amazing Ampharos and Pika Pals. GG's to you both. How did you feel that seed went for you?
I think the seed went okay for me, but I gotta say, that seed was pretty nasty.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I did. Well, I routed about as well as I could have. There just weren't any good decisions to be made in that seed.
Oh no, I completely understand that. After that terrible opening and the fact that the mitts were on such a terrible location when you could have gone to desert and basically last location them, no, I completely understand. This was not a friendly seed by any stretch.
Yeah, like, when I went back into Eastern, I was feeling just terrible, because I knew I'd played the early game about as badly as possible. Like, I stood by my decisions. I didn't want to go back to CAC without the hammer when I had powder, but it just put me so behind. And I saw those mitts, and I'm like, you know, someone could really miss those. And I felt okay about it. So I was like, I'll just do a bunch of, you know, low-risk checks. And when I run out of low-risk checks, I'm going to ice. And when Fire Rod was in ice, I thought I was doing okay. And I think 23rd and a race this big is pretty okay.
Yeah, I think I had the same feelings as that. I was just so disappointed that I beat 3 Light World dungeons before getting, or had the ability to beat 3 Light World dungeons before getting the Moon Pearl, and the Pearl wasn't even on the pedestal. Like, what gives?
Yeah, I was really excited. Like, I knew Moon Pearl pedestal was really possible when I was going back to Armos Knights. When I saw the mitts, I was really hoping it wasn't, though, because, you know, competitively, I wanted people to miss the thing.
Yeah, true, but I just wanted the satisfaction of pulling the pedestal, and I didn't even get that.
Oh, see, if you want the satisfaction of pulling pedestal, here's the secret. Don't spend the 4 screen transitions to check the pedestal, and instead just go to ice, and even when you find 2 good items in there, kill the boss anyway and blind pull it.
Sorry to interrupt, but P-Train just pulling off a hover on Moldorm 2 just completely nopes Moldorm 2 and hovers across the gap. Nice execution there.
Poor P-Train, he'll never have the last piece of heart.
Yeah, what a shame.
Yeah, can you even beat Ganon without 20 hearts? Like, I don't know, man.
I mean, he is a tough fight. He does like 8 damage when you're not over-prepared like we were.
Hey, Ganon hugs are the best hugs.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting doing Hyrule Castle with no weapons, but like 6 or 7 hearts and red mail. It's like, somehow this is a little out of whack.
Yeah, it sure felt that way. It definitely felt worse when I had half a heart left on Landmo with 12 hearts.
Yeah, I had a close call with Trinex too, and I'm like, there's no way I'd ever be able to live down actually dying in this fight with how much stuff I had.
Yeah, I was feeling really worried when I was at 2 hearts and decided to continue hammering away at them.
Alright, meanwhile, P-Train is on their Ganon fight. They also have Tempered Sword, just like AA did. They are having no trouble at all, though. It's their 1-in-1 cycle easily, without much trouble. Just 3 more slashes in this phase, and 4 more silvers.
Was it a thing a lot of people did to leave Ice Palace with the Fire Rod and not look for the 3rd item? Because I felt to me like by the time you found the Fire Rod, there wasn't much left for the 3rd item anyway.
I do not believe anyone else on Restream, except maybe P-Train, when he found Fire Rod. Because he actually, that was his go mode, was the Fire Rod in Ice Palace. He actually went into Turtle Rock without it and got the mirror in that chest.
Yeah, I definitely considered that was possible. I guess that really makes a lot of sense if Fire Rod was your go mode. But it felt so bad to go back to Death Mountain without the mirror until I was at least able to beat Turtle Rock.
Ladies and gentlemen, P-Train has finished with an official SRL time of 1:59.59. Heck of a sub 2 there. That is good enough for 39th place in this qualifier. So all of our featured runners here on this stream do finish in the top half of runners for this seed. 101 entrants, I believe. Just wow.
Yeah, finishing in the top half of a 100-person race is no small feat. It is a stacked field of runners we have in this qualifier part of the tournament. People are going to be pulling all the punches to try and get the best times possible, and this was no exception right here. in just a second. Oh, never mind. We got P-Train right away. Hello, GG.
GG.
All right, let's hear it.
I mean, I thought it went pretty good. What did he get, like 10th, 11th place? Somewhere around there?
11th place, you're correct.
Like rounding down, you know, rounding down just a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, you sub-2'd P-Train.
Yes, by the skin of my teeth. It has been a very long time since I've had an early game that bad. Mini Moldorm. So it was just a chain of really bad events. Mini Moldorm went really bad with bombs. So I used my last bomb to clear the cave. So then to do Ice Rod Cave, I bought bombs, which put me 50 rupees short for Zora. Then I did Eastern without the bow. So to make a long story short, when I got the Moon Pearl, I had Green Pendant turn in, and I had Armos left. So that was the situation where I got the Moon Pearl. I then absolutely last location the mitts on Armos. Then what else did I last location? I actually got the boots pretty early, but Fire Rod. When I got Fire Rod, I only had Graveyard Ledge and Ice Palace left. So I last location Hammer. I last location a whole bunch of other stuff. In the early game, it took me forever to find Moon Pearl and finally get Dark World access.
Certainly not the outlook of the seed that you were hoping to have. I can imagine.
I mean, honestly, like, yes, the early game was rough, but I felt like after the early game, like I'm pretty good with all of my decisions. I probably should have been quicker to Ice Palace, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, why do I have bombers? Like, what purpose? You know, Ether was Meyer, Quake was Turtle Rock. Why do I have bombers? So I really knew it was Ice Palace. What I was hoping was that the Fire Rod was behind the boots, since I got that mirror so early. And I'm like, man, if people did Ice Palace before Turtle Rock and found that Fire Rod, Turtle Rock is the obvious play. So I have to hope that that's not the case. So I kind of gambled that Ice Palace had nothing, and Graveyard Ledge was like the first thing. I'm like, no, if it's there, I'll lose. I will lose to Graveyard Ledge. I'm okay with that. So I cleared everything but, and then finally made my trip to Ice Palace and got Fire Rod in the second chest. I was like, well, that's GG's. So it was funny watching the restream for the past 20 minutes and seeing that, you know, everybody's in GT except for me.
Yeah. Yep. Certainly not a nice feeling, I'm sure, but for how poorly the seed went, you did the best you could. You executed, you know, just like any other seed. You know, you don't let it get to you. You know, play the seed out. Hope for maybe this being your worst one, if it even is that bad, and just push on from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think what made the seed so bad was the god route that Ultima did. Like, Ultima was first place by, I think, over 10 minutes or something like that. Like, he had an insane route. So, of course, the par time is going to be super skewed for this one. I think there's a good chance that this ends up being my worst seed out of 5, which is fine, you know. They can't all be winners.
Yeah, Ultima, yes, you are correct. In fact, it was 12 minutes between first and second place. So, huge outlier there.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our second qualifier here in the 2019 to 2020 Link to the Past tournament. There are 14 more qualifiers that we will be bringing your way here. Just absolutely amazing number of entrants. Our first 2 qualifiers each had 100 entrants. We will be narrowing this down to a field of 128 for the group and bracket phases. And it's just just some amazing competition we're seeing here today. Glad to have everyone with us here on Speed Gaming 2. I have been Phantom Ryu. I am going to be signing off, but obviously I will give the last word to Relkin and our runners here in the chat. But before I go, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoyed what you saw here today, and how could you not, make sure to give these runners here a follow on Twitch. Stick with us for the rest of this tournament. It has been an absolute blast. I am Phantom Ryu, and I will see you guys later.
Yes, thank you for the co-coms. See you later, Phantom Ryu. Is there any final words from any of the runners here that they would like to say before we close this out?
GG, Amazing Emperors, The Lane, and Pika Pals. Really enjoyed the race. I appreciate the restream. Thanks, Roken and Phantom, for coming. Special shout outs to the trackers. Really appreciate you guys. As a commentator myself, the job would literally be impossible without you guys. And just thanks, GG. Looking forward to the next qualifier.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. It's a interesting seed, good race. Glad everyone feels like they played well, even if the seed didn't treat them nice. And I look forward to the next.
Yep, GG to everyone. Just looking forward to the next qualifier that I can make terrible by joining.
Oh, man. Be a bit more positive. Come on.
I don't know. I'm sure I can find a way to last location something.
I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but I do honestly feel like the super competitive seeds, like any seed used for a qualifier, tends to be particularly brutal in like the weirdest way. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever had a free qualifier seed.
Oh, almost every seed is unkind in one way or another. It just really sticks out in your mind when it's a seed that counts, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I had like maybe one easier qualifier seed last tournament, but I also had like 3 seeds in qualifiers that were hookshot blocked by Pendant Swamp or Crystal Swamp. So
Yep. And like another thing, I'll add in my 2 cents here as a runner, not as a commentator. The fact that these are qualifiers make a lot of people maybe do things they wouldn't normally do in a 1v1 situation. There are lots of riskier moves that people will make in these kinds of races in order to get themselves a much better time overall. And Ultima, like, I mean, shouts to them for, I guess you could say, a little lucky here. I mean, the 12-minute between first and second was quite the spectacle. So yeah, GG's to them for sure. Gambles can work out sometimes, but it's rare enough that they will always, all the time, work out in the same seed. All right, well, if there are no more words left to be shared, then I will go ahead and sign us out here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please give all the runners a follow, as Phantom Ryu has said earlier. Please also give some love to our trackers, Raspberry Floof and Vince Easter. Thanks for the work you did behind the scenes. Thank you to Speed Gaming for the restream. And he's already gone now, but thank you to Phantom Ryu for co-commentary with me. I look forward to 2 more of these. I look forward to seeing more of these qualifiers. There are 14 qualifiers left in this qualifier portion of the tournament. The next one will be on Wednesday, and if I remember correctly, it is at, I want to say 12:15, but I do not remember off the top of my head. If you want to correct me on that, either of you two. Well, either way, the next qualifier will be on Wednesday. Look for it coming up. Yes, okay, thank you. It is on Wednesday at 10:15. Excuse me, 10:15 a.m. Most likely on Speed Gaming and also on ALTTPR Randomizer channels on Twitch. Be on the lookout for those. With that, I have been Relkin. These have been the runners Pika Pals, Amazing Ampharos, P-Train, and Thelane. My co-commentators Phantom Ryu, Crackers, Vince Easter, and Raspberry Floof. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.